Hello, everyone. I guess that's just at this moment. Not everyone, just one. Roller says hello, hello, Roller. It's the first time you're here, no? It's a screen name I hadn't seen before, or maybe I just don't remember. Um, Somehow you do sound familiar, but I'm not sure. Maybe you help me out with the protocol. Gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. That maybe jogs my memory, at least lets us get to know a little bit. Hello, Nikki. Good to see you here, dear. I was just talking to a new screen name or some screen name that hasn't been here for a while. And Roller says almost 55 from Vegas. All right, thank you very much. And I take it this is male. Have I guessed the gender right? Mm, nice tea. So, Nikki, how have you been? How are you coping with the challenge of the century? I guess for us, we've never seen something like this before to this level. We were scared of SARS at one time, a few years back. Scared of some other things, but this thing is new and has scared the heck out of every one of us, right? um, let's see who's going to join us. Emmanuel, hello, Emmanuel, male 27 Boston, thank you for that. Nikki says it's awful. I think we are all ready for life to go back to normal. Oh, yes, for sure we are. For sure we are. For sure we are. Sorry with that, guys. Just like to make a respond here. Okay, so where are we now? That's for sure. You know, there are a bunch of information about our immune system, and I was wondering if anybody is interested for us to touch on the matter at all, if you wish, or perhaps not. I guess I wait for your response. Roller says, how are you doing, Mehran? And everyone, thank you very much, Roller. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. We're going to maybe wait for a few minutes and have maybe get our beverages ready because, as I mentioned, I'll try to be uh, having live streamings almost every day because there's really not much else to do. Our times are pretty much freed at the moment, and hopefully you all stay healthy. And as long as we are all healthy here too, time is available, and we can have these live streams every day and keep each other's company and discuss matters of life and matters of the psyche, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, mechanical process, material process, intrusive thinking, OCD, anxiety, and then we use that for dealing with our breakups, divorces, and emotional hardships, and of course whatever else could be on your mind, including topics of the day. Could be maybe hardly touch on politics. We try not to, or some real challenges like what we are all going through around the world. Emmanuel says, have you been wearing mask and gloves? Well, at times I did. I have my mask in my, what is it, west pocket here, that pocket when I wear my jacket. And when I see somewhere there is too many people that I didn't want to be there but happen to be, um, which I usually don't go where there are too many people. But if I see something maybe uh, worries me, if I'm trying to pay for something that I bought, it's a little bit close maybe, or other people behind me somewhere in case they cough, I don't know. So I put my mask on. But otherwise, when I'm out of the store and just carrying my goods to my home or just taking a walk or taking a stroll, I don't wear a mask. And I stay away from people, and um, usually people are cordial. They stay away from um, me or others, and it works out fine. And the gloves, um, I did once when I was going to the bank and it was close, and so many other people would touch the same, I don't know, teller wicket and things, machines and all that. But I don't go to banks much, and I don't wear gloves unless it's something specific that I want to do. But I try to stay away from touching elevator buttons. I touch it with something and then throw that out properly. Door handles, I try not to touch them. They usually have a button to open. I try to use that button. And if I do happen to had no choice and had to do that by hand, I'll make sure I don't touch my nose, face, and wash my hands as soon as I can, thoroughly. So that, I guess, could help out. And Jeffrey says, hi, Mehran, how are you? Jeff 32 Toronto. Thank you for being here, Jeff. And Jeff says, I'm so happy you're on. I'm delighted to be here. I've been so anxious today, Jeffrey says. Well, maybe when enough people show up tonight at one point, we may be interested, if you guys were, to discuss our maybe immune defense lines and what they need for us to nourish them so they will do their job right. So we can go over the defense lines that we each human being have and what we could be doing in order to help the immune system, our soldiers. Neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils, and others. They're all part of our white blood cells, and of course, they're part of the immune system of thymus and lymphocyte systems and spleen, probiotics, and so on. So we could maybe talk a little bit about them and what they do and so on, and what we need to give them to make sure they're in tip-top shape. But that would be something that if you guys were interested, and we can come to it when eventually we see everybody's interested. At the moment, we can just do some greetings and see how many people actually would be awake for us. Well, it's not too late in Pacific West coastline, in time zone. It's about what, 8:30, and it's 11:30 in East Coast. So, and of course now it's best time for Australians to join us. It's about what, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon in New Zealand, Australia, Hong Kong, India. It all works out now. It's the right timing for most places. Europe even waking up soon enough. And Roller says 8:25. Yeah, you're at the same time zone as we are in Vancouver and also California. So, hope you guys have your tea or coffee with you and chilling. Let's see how many people show up tonight. Somehow YouTube is really not on the ball by kind of trying to inform or alert people who have clicked on the bell to be notified when we go live. Somehow I don't see that service working well. Most people don't know if we exist, let alone let alone be there. So let me see if I can change this content here. Salut. All right. Let's see. So Nikki says I could have been. Oh, Nikki says female 31 Orlando. Mehran, how can someone try to live a regret free life? I'm 31 and in nursing school. I'm proud of myself, of how far I've come, but I can't stop, what? But I can't, I guess, yeah? It says, but I can't stop thinking I wasted 10 years of my life. So, do you mean you want to waste another 10 years thinking about it now? But the key here is that, it's like you set out for a drive and you, in your mind, say, you know what? I'm in the mood to drive to this wonderful place that I think exists in such and such part of the country or town, and I'm going to find it and enjoy a nice tea or cup of coffee and a cake, because I know they're really famous for that. And the atmosphere there is so beautiful, a little bit tropical in the landscape of the cafe, and the tables are outside, stars are out, and it's very nice, and very nice music, and people are cordial, and service is good. I'm just going to treat myself this afternoon to that. And you start driving. And you drive, and you drive, and you don't exactly have the exact address, but you have a sense of where it is. So you drive, and it becomes half an hour, 2 hours, and finally, third hour, when you were lost all this and you couldn't find the place, you couldn't locate it, back and forth here and there, finally, about 3 hours, 3.5, you say, Eureka, there it is, I can see it. Then you sit down and you're having coffee or tea and your favorite, I don't know, pastry that you wanted, and everything is as you thought, everything as you imagined it would be, the tropical landscape and the all nice weather and people are good and service friendly. Then you start thinking, God, I wasted 3 hours of my time. If I would only know how to get here. Well, yeah. But if you hadn't gotten lost and not having known the address of the place, if you hadn't gone to this street, that street, back and forth, eventually to the other one, and then that labyrinth and the other one, and the direction and the right and left and so on, would you have gotten here eventually? No. So the fact that you were lost 3 hours, that was the way for you to find what you were looking for. So instead of regretting that 3 hours, say, thank God I found this in 3 hours. I could have been looking for this for another 20. So if you really look at it, Unless you had gone through that 10 years of whatever it was, you couldn't have, because it was the process of moving toward this where you were looking for. It was process of recognition, process of arriving to this place, that you had to stop and pass all those other destinations that were not where you wanted to end up. But in order to get here, all those destinations had to be stopped at and figured out that no, that's not it. No, that's not it. Just like this cafe that you finally found, the imaginary cafe, you thought that cafe was in that street 3 hours ago. And that's why you went, because you thought, oh, there's a sign there. Oh, you go there, you park, you go, oh, that's not it. Then you drive another one and another one, another. You had to go through all these wrong assumptions and addresses until you finally got to where you were looking for. So same thing with the 10 years. You had to go through these 10 years. Every year of it, something, but your real goal was to find this, which you have found now. So in pursuit of this, you had to cross and pass those things, those hardships, those difficulties. It's no different than, I don't know, having OCD thoughts in your head. You just see for what it is, but that's a process for you to learn more about your head and how your brain acts and behaves, and how your psyche is affected, and what thoughts are, that you and the thoughts are not the same, are separate, and simply it just pops out. It's not in your control, and you're not what the thoughts suggest, and therefore you just understand it and learn it and let it be, and then you will learn how to deal with this event, or with this malfunction of the signaling system, or these pop-up thoughts, because thoughts are not under our control. Thoughts are not us. They're not made by us. And yet, through this process, you will learn it. When you learn it, it won't happen again. If it does, very rarely, because you've now understood what it is. You're not having anxiety about it, and you're not bamboozled by it, misunderstanding what this all could be, is have something to do with me. When you understand no, it has nothing to do with you, it's the anxiety and the fear and the things that you don't want to be, and then these thoughts make you pay attention to them, and you learn that you shouldn't be paying attention to them, and then eventually the jig is up, and you will find out what they are all about, which they are nothing, of non-existence, and they're just something that is called malfunction of the signaling system and intrusive thoughts, which is part of the brain of every human being on this earth. Every one of us go through it, and the ones who actually go through it and learn what it is, they become free from it far better than the ones who never go through that hardship. So the same thing, the price of finding what you want was that 10 years. Price of getting rid of this and become free of it is to learn what this stage of OCD thing is. So it's all about experience and know-how and knowledge. And sometimes knowledge is painful and takes a while, and perseverance to figure it out what this whole thing is all about. So no regret whatsoever. Move on, enjoy it. But right now, enjoy the coffee and the pastry, not about the path that it took me to get here. So, and Nikki says, thank you for sharing your wisdom. My pleasure. What wisdom? I haven't felt it yet. And so Nikki said, Nikki said, oh, when she asked, I wasted 10 years of my life, then she said I could have been done with this a long time ago. Well, we discussed that right now, didn't we? And been further in my life at this time. Really? Further to what? What's the hurry? This was the path. You couldn't have been anywhere if this path didn't pass, because you you wouldn't have even found the place. You know? It's like trying to climb a mountain and then you can't find the right rock to negotiate, right path to negotiate to get to the summit. And it takes you a while, and then dangerous parts, and you avoid it. You had to make these choices at the time. But now that you found the summit, say, oh, why didn't I just come straight up? Because you didn't know. You had to find the right path. And those paths took time, experience, the weather changed, icy, all these things you had to consider. But right now you're not thinking about what situation were you then and why you had to commit to the path that you were committing to, the learning curve. And suddenly you say, well, why didn't I just eat the cake? Well, you had to cook it. You had to bake it first. Go get the ingredient, bake it, and all that. But now that it's ready, you say, oh, it took so long to make it. I could have done it faster. Really, now that you know, you say that because it's known to you. But then it was unknown. So it's the wrong comparison then, I guess. And Nikki says, yeah. And then Jeffrey says, I feel the same way, Nikki. Yeah. Same answer to you too, Jeffrey. Nikki says, can't stop thinking. And Steven says, hello, Mehran. Steven, male 39, Los Angeles. Hello, Steven. Good to see you. Good of you to join us. I thought you might because this is 8:35 and you probably finished work if you were working. Oh, you say, or are you working? You're probably working at home, are you? You can't work at home. You got to be there, right? Nikki says, haha, amazing point already. Well, good. And Nikki says, wow, so eye-opening. Made me feel so much better already. Delighted to hear that. And Nikki says, thank you for sharing your wisdom. That was the word coming from. Now, let's see what Emmanuel said. Emmanuel says, because of the coronavirus, I won't be able to see my daughter for God knows how long. My father, my mother, and my ex-mother-in-law have all agreed that my daughter will not be picked up. Okay? That's all right, reasonable. So you can do FaceTime with her if you like. And that should be okay. Jen says hello. Jen. You, I think last time we talked, you are from Korea or Hong Kong? Am I mistaken in both? Let me know. What happened to protocol, guys? Remind me. Please do. Jen says, I feel like not dating at all. But well, that's the right thing to do right now anyhow. Hardly we want to go out, and in lineups, we want to be 2 meters away, 6 feet at least, and have a mask on. What kind of date is it anyhow? Even if you had the chance to go on a date, you should refuse. Have a date with a cup of your cup of tea and, I don't know, some fruit, I don't know, some goodies. That's all. Enjoy a fresh walk, walk in the fresh, walk in the fresh air. And she says, is it she or he? Come on, guys, help me out. Don't forget the protocol. I need to know little bits, and that little bit is important. And gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. And but started to talk to a guy. Okay, so I was right. You're a girl, and you're from, I think, from Korea. No? Hong Kong? Or totally wrong. She says, but started to talk to a guy many hours each day. He has a good personality, but now I got to know he's only 170 centimeters. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's a perfect height. It's a problem because I'm only attracted to tall guys. Well, really? Change your understanding of what makes a person a good person or a bad person, a good match or not. If you're attracted to a tall guy, what? when you need a certain stick, you're gonna make it as tall as he wants, or as tall as it is, or as tall as you can actually use it for whatever it is that you want to use. Length, height, has nothing to do with the personality of the person, the persona, the consciousness. If you're so bogged down with this, it's just like a, I don't know, not really wanting to have a relationship with the person. You want to have a relationship with the image of a person, with the physical portion of the entity of an individual. But you can never have a relationship with the physical part other than the physicality, the touch and the maybe intimacy part, which that again, there's no qualification if a person is taller. In fact, sometimes when people are very tall, it might be a little bit different in some other tangents, depending on. So it's not a scientific thing, but it's something to consider. So anyhow, if you want to have a relationship, you want to have a relationship with the person or the physical attribute of a person. You want to have a relationship with the physical attribute of a person, well, I don't know, get a cardboard cutout of a look, because relationship is with the consciousness. So you might as well focus on the personality of that person, how he treats you, how his plans are, what kind of contribution he makes to the society, what kind of a mindset he has, what kind of goals, what kind of energy, and all that is really what you will have a relationship with, not the the height of the person. Come on now. How tall are you? Unless you're taller than 175, then I do not buy that nonsense they just threw in. You say the guy is nice, well, that's all it matters. Let's see what Jen says. There you go. You're 168. Okay. For 2 centimeters, you want to break the deal? For heaven's sake. What's up with you? Jen says, I'm 31, woman in Sweden. Ah, Sweden. Why did I think of Hong Kong or Korea? The guy is 27 years old. Well, gee, so he's only 2 centimeters taller than you, but hey, he's 4 years younger than you. So what do you say about that? Let's call it even. Says, yeah, but I'm 168. Oh, so big deal. Don't want to play basketball with the guy. On a basketball team. All right. All right. Jen, I bet you understood what the whole meaning of it is. You really want to have a relationship with the person, or you want to have a relationship with the attribute. You have to see if you guys have things in common, because that is where most relationships make or break. It's not about pretty much how tall they are or how short each one of you guys are. Yeah. All right. Angel Roger says, hi, what's up? And hello, Angel. And don't forget the protocol, please. Gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. Abhi says, in Gujarati language, how are you is said as Kemcho. Oh, okay then. Kemcho. Abhi Kemcho. And Roller says, relationship with the consciousness. Nice, yeah. Abhi says, wants to hear this from you, and I did. Jen says, You're funny. I'm not being funny, actually. I'm being serious, only in a funny tone, because I want you to hear it from outside to see how it sounds when somebody else says it and discusses it. You can see that really your relationship is always with the consciousness of the other person. Yet you expect the physical attribute of the person take precedent or take priority or actually compensate or be the foundation of a relationship. It cannot work. It cannot work. It never does. Never will. Because that's not where the compatibility begins. That's something that you may get used to, and after a while, you won't even notice it. At the beginning, maybe. It's like you pass by on your, I don't know, touristic drive, and you see a building structure, and you say, oh, wow. And you see another building a little bit taller. So, oh, wow. Then you go to the second building, the taller building, and say, so primitive. Then you go to the first building, the shorter one. So, wow, so advanced, technologically advanced, thought of everything. The elevators, the spacing, the stairs, the electrical system, the smart electrical, energy sources, smart energy sources, and all the technologies that one could think, so advanced, so comfortable, so amazingly welcoming. So which one you going to get an apartment in it? Huh? The other one's taller, bigger. You're going to go for the one that you feel comfortable with. And that comfort comes from the qualities that have been used to build that structure, not how big or tall the structure is. The material used inside, the spaces that have been designed, how they're welcoming and fit you in sitting and enjoying yourself. Everything, the rooms, the living room, the kitchen, the bathrooms, the sleeping rooms, bedrooms, all they have to have certain characteristics. It has nothing to do with how big the building is. It has to do with that environment you're going to be actually unloading your things, your issues, your challenges, your specialities, your interests, and so on. See if there's enough space for all these specialities that you have. Rather than the outside look good, but inside there's no space because it's so all occupied with the building's stuff, maintenance stuff, material stuff. So it's not designed well, but the outside looks good. So you guys, man or woman, look for this. Watch out for these things. Don't fall into that trap of your own assumptions. Are you choosing a partner for you, or you choosing it for when you walk in the street, friends or somebody says, oh, she was walking with this guy, or they say, oh, this guy, their friend was walking with this girl, she was so good looking. Yeah, but she was piece of work, or he was piece of work when they were not in public all dude up and dressed up. Their manners and behavior just didn't work out. And that's why they broke up. But they were both really good looking. Look at all these actors and actresses. Good looking and whatever you want to call them. Tall, short, whatever. Good looking, all physically fit and all that. But they do get divorced. Why? It's not because they're not good looking. The guy's good looking, the girl is pretty. So why? They don't hit it off on conscious level. So focus on that. For 2 centimeters, he wants to break the deal. Heaven's sake. Put a pedestal under his feet, for heaven's sake. What are you talking about? And tell him to bring a roller chair with him. Anywhere you go, just have him stand on that. You just push. He's taller than you all the time. All right, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at what I just said. So, all right, okay. Let's go to Roller says my parents' best friends were a foot apart. You've got to really love someone for them. We all have our preferences. Yeah. Appy says, sir, you missed my protocol message. Wait. Thank you. Did I? Did I? Where? Where was it? No. You said, I want to hear that from you, and I did. And after that, I don't have anything. Abhi, after you said in Gujarati, Kemcho is how are you? And you said you want to hear me say it. Want to hear this from you, so I did. And after that, I have nothing other than, sir, you missed my protocol message with thank you. No. Before that, I don't have anything. And Appy says, I'm fine, thank you for this. Okay. Emmanuel says, Mehran, in your own opinion, in a world like the one we are living in, that we all talk about democracy and freedom in many aspects, how has India managed to maintain such a strict culture? But it depends on what you mean by India. Who is India? You think there is an India, then there are people in India. But people are India. It's like you say, society made me this, but who made the society? You made the society. I am the society. So when you say how India managed to keep a strict culture, there is no India. There are people of India, and they wanted to keep it like this. That's why it's like this. For whatever reason, maybe they're very smart, maybe they're not so smart, maybe they're so hung up, maybe they're fearful, maybe they instilled the fear, maybe the leaders are religious leaders, they kept this culture in order to control because the elderlies have always been controlling, and now who wouldn't like to control? Parents control their children, children grow up, they want to control somebody else. That goes on and on and on. Then what better than keeping the tradition, which is based on controlling others? So obviously they didn't want to change it. It's not like India managed to keep it. Those people are India. And they managed to, from their fear or from their needs or from whatever it is, or that there's so many people and that has given that hierarchy and the order in the society, and they can't really afford to have any other order come in or replace this, or have lack of order, or they're afraid that it turns into anarchy, or they're afraid that they won't have the control, the system that is already in place, the way people are used to it, so they don't let the young ones or anything new come into the picture. They're holding it the way it was because they probably say, it's been like this for 1,000 years, so it can still be the same. Why should we fix the wheel that is not broken? And all these things. So I think the question is a little bit needs to be modified, I believe. And Emmanuel says they still have arranged marriage there, and I don't understand why. Well, old habits are hard to kill. But the changes are coming eventually. Maybe in another 100 years things will be different. But traditions are too deep, and I really don't know the statistics in India, what the divorce statistics, but people are people. I don't care what their culture is. I'm sure the problems in the marriage in India is the same as in Iran, the same as is in France, the same as in Germany, the same as in the United States. It's there. Those divisions and conflicts are there. Why? Because each human being is conditioned differently in their consciousness, and the two consciousnesses are having a relationship with each other. But they don't realize that when they're actually trying to get together and they get married, They're not focused really on each other's consciousness. They're focused on things like, you know, how pretty she looks, how much money the guy has, and the aesthetics, how tall, how short, and all these things. And what kind of family, what kind of a car, and all these things. They think these are what the commonalities is. And eventually, when they get to know each other, then they get to know each other based on the content of their consciousness. And they figure out, ooh, we're not compatible. And they don't want to change their own consciousness either, because if, you know, I'm right, whatever I think, whatever I have been conditioned, that's the right conditioning, not the other person's conditioning. And the other person thinks the same way. And they don't want to really examine it logically, and they just decide it's better just to separate, and they do. So that problem exists everywhere. It's not like just India. And mind you, the places that are constantly changing are not really that balanced either. What's every new thing comes in, so okay, change our culture, change our ways. Oh, it's change is good, but naturally it comes, not like constantly changing for the sake of changing. So I can say I'm new, I'm with the new, fresh, like these products that constantly come up with this label, new. New and different, as if new and different by itself is a quality. You see, the word new has been used in such a psychological way to sell products. New doesn't mean better, but they have made us feel new means more advanced. It just means new. Like if I have a, let's say, I don't know, a mask made out of proper cloth and every technology is considered in it, would I then be able to make a mask out of a piece of cloth and two, I don't know, elastic bands and say, new? Well, yeah, it's new, I just made it. But that new is not better than the other one, definitely not. But we have been conditioned not to focus on what the quality of the thing really is, but first let the new hit us and create a basic belief that new is better. Then we go on to see what it is, and we go in with the idea of that this is better than the old one to begin with because it's called new. And that's where we get bamboozled. New is only new when it actually works better, not because this just came to the market. New. How many times people around the world bought the car the next year as new, but it was exactly the same as the year before, only maybe the headlamp was changed. The engine was the same, everything, but they called it new, and people, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to buy 2 months from it because a new is going to be released. What new? They're all new. The same technology, just maybe a little bit, if you look at it differently, but still same. So this whole business of, changing to new in other cultures is also nonsense. Constantly, everything new just wants to be as valuable and proven as something that's been working for a while. There has to be a balance in there. Roller girl says, haha, I don't know what. Emmanuel says, India is not behind in any way except in that freedom. Nowhere really is free. Who is free? You think people in the United States are free? Look at how they're being bamboozled. They can't say anything other than what's right. They can't even use the word socialist because suddenly it's been, socialist. But you already have socialism in your system. What do you think what the government is doing for its people right now is called? Socialism, by trying to pay them, help them because of the coronavirus. What do you think the government was doing for bailing out these big corporations out of the disaster that they brought upon the world, the bankers, in 2008, 2009, and so on? What was that? That was socialism, but socialism for the rich. So as long as it's paying and bailing out the rich, that's not socialism. That's just making them richer. So that's capitalism. But when Bernie Sanders suggests that people should not have to pay for education, people should be entitled to health care, and they do not have to pay for health care. They should not go bankrupt for health care, which in fact is more of a possibility and opportunity to make a healthier capitalism system. Why? Because when they don't go bankrupt because of healthcare costs, when they don't have to pay tuition for public education university, they would have more money in their pocket. So when they have more money in their pocket, they can spend it on projects, on buying powers, on spending in the economy, on investing in their businesses, and that means more money in generating in the country, in the economy. So that's it. That's capitalism at its best, when they have more disposable income. But when you actually have them go bankrupt or pay for these things that they don't have to, then the big companies get rich and they get controlled. But they call that socialism because it's good for the people. Social, social is good. Capitalism works when there are social services are available. The basic social services are available, and capitalism can thrive and become stronger. Like here it is in Canada. Look, we are a capitalist country. We can make as much money as we want. We can do any business we want. We're free. We can speak and say what we want to say, and we're protected by law. And we have social services. Healthcare is free for all. If I need a surgery, I go to the hospital, I go get my surgery, I pay nothing. If I don't like my doctor today, tomorrow, and I mean tomorrow, I go to another clinic, another doctor. I walk in, and my card takes me in. Nobody's asking question. They serve me best, and I see another doctor. And if I don't like the specialist that the doctor has chosen for me for a certain maybe further examination, if I don't like that specialist, I say, give me another specialist. Or I find the specialist on the list myself. I said, doctor, send a referral to this specialist. I want to go there. That's done. I pay nothing. You know, until just last January, we used to pay $75 a month. Then it was reduced to $37.50 a month. Then January onward, I pay nothing, zero. So what's wrong with that? That gives me more money to spend on my business, to advertise for my business, helping other businesses by my disposable money available, or buy stuff for me, go on travel, do whatever I want, invest in different businesses, or help the economy that way by my purchasing power. Because these are all coming out of the collective budget of the country to provide me with the basic social services. And then I can be a real capitalist rather than constantly be bogged down with the things that are necessary. I need the basics of life, and I can never be a capitalist. I can never make big money or make a lifestyle or help the country to turn its economy to a higher level. So you can see what Bernie Sanders has been offering in the United States, been a way out to become a stronger and healthier capitalist country. But they put a label on it. Why? Because the people who are already rich and corporations who are ruling and controlling and dictating the system in the United States, they don't want people to be in power. But in their constitutions is, by the people. Governing by the people, right? Something like that. Not in reality. That's what I think, at least. I might be wrong, but this is what you hear from all the intellectuals in the United States itself. So, how did we get there? How did we get there? All right. Yeah, Abhi, I watched it again. I don't see that message at all. It says right below Jen's message. I don't see it. Somehow I don't see it. All right. Jen says, thank you. Good analogy about the short and comfortable building versus the tall filled building. This guy is really kind, considerate, positive, responsive. We talk many hours. That feels like seconds. Well, this is it. That's good. You know, maybe when coronavirus goes away, you guys can have tea. Uh, Jen says we haven't met by talked 1 to 6 hours daily. That's good. That's the best thing you can do right now. Remember, he's the guy who's keeping you company in these kind of times. And he probably knows you're the one who keeps him company. So who cares about the 2 centimeter? And it says, for 1 week, and it feels like I can be vulnerable and tell him everything and everything about me or so. And he still accepts me. I'm very ambivalent. Ambivalent. Secure attachment. All right. Sounds good so far. But don't rush into just trying to say everything. Just gently. When it's time. Jen says, talk, due to quarantine, we haven't met, but it feels like we know each other well. But like I said, I always like guys who are 190 centimeter. How did that work for you? Did you see what you said? I always liked, you said. I always liked, you said, right? Liked what? Guys who are 190 centimeter. And how did that work out? Why are you still looking? So it wasn't the height, because they had the height, but it didn't work out. But you still want to go and think that your priority or one of your credentials or standards to choose your boyfriend would be the height. And you've always done that, but it didn't pan out. So maybe, just maybe, the height is not the most important one or important at all. It's the person. Yeah? The person who's in that structure, that height. And obviously you now know the answer. Each one of them did have that 190 centimeter, but it didn't work out, did it? So it's time to look deeper. And it says, I hope he was at least 180. Why? What does that do for you? Grow up. What? I mean, can you imagine? A guy says, oh, I'm only interested in getting to know a girl who is at this certain height. It might be a preference for some, I don't know, figure, fitness, sexual imaging, I don't know, longer legs, or maybe some guys say, I only like a woman who have, are very outgoing personality. But still, none of that keeps the relationship together, because you can be having two same girls in front of you, but one of them is really on an intellectual level that you fall in love with her, but the other one looks exactly the same body and everything, but you're not. What do you have to say about that? Same height, same look, same gorgeous and everywhere, but one of them you fall in love with, one of them you don't care. So it's really not the looks, as long as it meets your basic standards. It's really what that person is like, the energy that you exchange, the bonding that takes place in the between the two consciousnesses. Yeah? So in the same way, you can have a guy 190 centimeter and the other guy 2 meter, 200 centimeter, the other guy 170 or 168 or 165. You will see which one's energy and compatibility is the one that makes you really like him. Just like we like girls based on their personality and looks. And you would need to focus on both as well, not just one. All right. And well, it's not his problem that you've these guys who are not that tall, you find them friend zone. It's your lack of understanding what makes a difference in a person, what makes people different. You know, so you got to fix that in you, not in them. And she says, cause it's just one of the most important physical things about a guy for me that he is tall. Well, no, there's something else in your brain that you got to get over that. Because I don't know, you probably are not choosing the boyfriend for you, you're choosing the boyfriend for how the society looks at the image. You want to create a certain image that you have been brainwashed to think it's important, and you think the society actually believes the same image that you think is important is important. Society doesn't give a shit. And the people who actually think that you gotta hang around with someone taller than yourself, then you have that image in their mind. That means you're not choosing a boyfriend for you. You're choosing and you're using that person to create an image that you think is important, so the society will judge you based on the image you have created for them to see of you and not you. There, I said it. Think about it. I will upload it again to hear what I said and try to understand it, because I really didn't. But no, but I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. And so I find it hard to not care about, cause I always thought I'd be or get kids with tall guys. I'm afraid unless they want to work in some stocking grocery store that they only hire tall people, so they don't have to use pedestal or ladder to save time, so they can just stock the products on the shelves. What do you care about how tall your children are gonna be? What? We're not living in the out so far. Because you're going somewhere with this that is not going to help you. What needs to be considered there is the persona. Guys, did we get interrupted by the programming of the what is it, OBS system? Because I just got a message that says reconnection successful by OBS. So I didn't know if we were disconnected. Oh, I see. So everybody got that. All right. Well, when I upload it, the recording will take place even though if the OBS is not working. But now we're back online anyhow. No worries. Because honestly, I'm off the cuff. I don't even know what I said. I can't repeat it. And so now we go to Shoaib Khan, 23, male, India. Thank you for that, Shoaib. Says, hi, Mehran. Hope you're staying safe. Thank you very much. I am doing my best. And tonight, perhaps when we get up to 20, I would like to maybe go over some of the things about Corona and our defense system, so at least we can a little bit be more aware of how we are put together in the biological sense, and what our defensive lines are and how we can improve them and so on. So let's see, where were we? App, he says, male 24, India. I'm doing good nowadays by taking a little step every day towards moving on, as I was getting disturbed by my ex's text and calls, which was just convenience call. I finally blocked her. Yeah, good. Yeah. Dog lover says, howdy, howdy, dog lover. And Mason says, let's see what he says, because it says hold for approval. All right, that one is okay. Mason says, I don't know, JK here to support. Is it many topics tonight? And says, is everybody subscribed? I don't know, Mason. Hopefully everybody liked the live talk, and if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Jen says, I missed some of your answer. Yeah, I know. I just got a message from OBS that says reconnection successful, so I guess we were cut off for a bit. But I will uphold it. Upload it. Uphold it. I will upload it. I'll have some tea. I will upload it later, and you will hear whatever I said. And yeah, everybody says it's frozen. OBS. OBS is the program that I need to have in order to connect to YouTube for live streaming. Jen says, yeah, you're probably right. My friends also are like this and think tall guys look hot. So it's true, I'm a bit scared they will think I'm strange for choosing such a short guy. My mom will be disappointed too. Really? Why? Would your parents, your friends want to create a basketball team? What does tall or short have anything to do? Who says short is short? Like, somebody would think 190 is short because they're all like 2.6. I mean, 7.1 or 7.2, and therefore they feel 6.2 height is short. Or some people think 4.5 is short, or 140 centimeters is short, or 150 is short, but 160 is not short, 165 is not short, 170 is not short. It depends on what you have fed yourself as far as compared to what. It's like the word, Middle East and Far East and Near East. Middle East to where? Well, it was the British who actually created that. Middle East compared to Britain. Otherwise, Middle East is not a Middle East to the Middle Eastern. That's where the center is. Far East. The Chinese don't think of this as Far East. Far from where? So somewhere it was decided by someone, who God knows what, who says, they were the ones that figured, they said, okay, in comparison to UK, to England, it's Middle East, it's Far East. But there's no real legitimacy to that accuracy of that is actually Middle East compared to where? In relation to what? So the same thing, you say height, tall, in relation to what? So I think if you really, unless you want to say tall people are also kinder, nicer, smarter, and more successful, which is all baloney. We know it's not true. How tall was Napoleon? Took half of the world. Huh? Or Caesar. Huh? Or the Persian Empire, King Darius. How tall was he? Huh? All these people were powerful. In fact, if you look in the history, Most people who were ambitious and powerful, they were not the kind of height you're talking. They're not 7 feet tall. They were not 6.5. They were hardly 6 feet. Why? Well, I don't know. You figure it out. So I think you need to focus on what makes a human being human being. What are the characteristics that really matter? Is it lifestyle? Is it health? Is it mentality? Is it consciousness, conditioning the consciousness? Is it compassion? Is it kindness? Is it unselfishness? Is it care? Or is it height? We can't be that superficial. I mean, maybe if you were like 17, you still hadn't figured things out. But now, at least at this age that you've tried your way, and, you know, anyhow. There are also other physical challenges when some people get tall. You know, some people who are very tall, it's a lot more work on their system. All the blood should flow through higher elevation compared to the gravity. So it's more of a pressure on their whole system, isn't it? If you look at it that way. So there are advantages and disadvantages to everything. So some advantages to people who are maybe taller in some certain circumstance, and some advantages to people who are not that tall in certain circumstance, and they would be the right choice. Yeah. So just get that superficial thinking out, and you might have a better chance, Jen. Okay. Angel Roger says, what tea is that? Oh, I've got chamomile today. My favorite tea, chamomile, by, actually I have, it's funny, by Taylor's of Harrogate of the UK. Look at this. This is the best chamomile tea in the tea bag that's commercially available. I mean, I really enjoy it. It's totally good stuff. There we go. It's a free advertisement for Taylor's. And Roller says probably pros and cons list. Yeah. All right. So there are 10 of us here. How do you guys like to talk about this coronavirus versus our defense line, our line of defense? What do you think? Is this something you'd be interested to talk about? Or perhaps we just talk about what you want to talk about. That would be fine with me. Angel Roger says, is it from beer? What? What's from beer? What tea is it you asked? I said, it's Taylor's. And then you said, oh, Corona. Yeah, I thought of it today as well. I said that that word is actually negative connotation for the other word, but I missed it right now. Now I got it, yeah. No, not about that Corona. Our defense system for the virus. Appy says, yes, Corona should be, as some people are still unaware of it. Roger says, I'm not kidding. Why do they call it beer? I don't think that's got any, I'm sure it's got nothing to do with the beer. It just happens to be, I guess, pronounced the same way. I think Corona is with K anyhow, isn't it? And this one is with the C, no? I'm not a beer drinker anyhow, but I know what you're talking about. Abhi says, please tell us your next live timing so I should be available. Abhi, dear, I really don't know. These days, I have no schedule. I see if I attend to whatever I have to attend, and then I see it's the right time. And usually, probably about 8 o'clock would be the right time because then I can hit West Coast. It still would be 8 o'clock here, and East Coast would be 11 o'clock. They still could be up. And then Australia, New Zealand, and Hong Kong, and Philippines, and so on. Well, India and Iran and everywhere else would also fit into the time. UK, Germany, all will fit into the time. Italy and so on. But I have no schedule these days. Usually, as you remember, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 12, 11, 12, or 1 o'clock we would start. But now I just don't have any really. Carpe Diem says, good to see you, Mary. Good to see you, Carpe Diem. Good of you to join us again. He says, I had a feeling to check if you're live. Did not get any. I am really totally devastated, surprised that this YouTube is such a disastrous alerting system, even though people have pushed the bell button to be notified when I have new videos or when I have live talk, but it doesn't look like it's working. I try to have the live talk every day, maybe, I don't know, during 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 8 o'clock in the evening these days to help, to just be there. Otherwise, they don't have any special, what is it, schedule for it. Shoaib says, how do we achieve serotonin rather than dopamine? I don't know. I can't specifically switch it by the activity, but I know that when you are in environments where their friendship and the emotions are exchanged, then oxytocin, and when the news of something good is happening is dopamine, and when your mood is going up and less of a glitches and more clarity is serotonin. That's what I think. Of course, you got to check yourself because I'm not a doctor, so I may make a mistake. However, that's what I think it was. My goodness, here's Adam again with his generosity. He helps to support the channel. Every time he's here, he helps the channel, and we have a $20 super chat. I thank you for that. And if we had that kind of a support from everybody, by now we would have been able to perhaps have enough finances to have a possibility of coronavirus aside. If it wasn't there, maybe I could put up some kind of a workshop in one part of the world, and then would have physical weekend workshop, which we could afford then to take those trips and those arrangements. There's a lot more I can share with you guys if I can physically arrange such things. But of course, it'll be a while before we can do that, since we are still hoping for more subscribers. But anyhow, Carpe Diem, I thank you so much. He says, please support Mehran. He is a wonderful teacher and a human being. Thank you. Well, I am delighted to hear that, and I'm thankful and grateful for your courage and support for the channel. And so we have now, Shoaib says, okay, no, we have Angel says, is your city in lockdown? I hear Canada is going to city lockdown. Actually, we haven't, not that I know of, not the city that I'm here in Vancouver. We are encouraged to not go places we don't need to go, and the shops that are not of necessity are closing earlier, and the shops that are important for food and so on still have dialed down their the hours of operation, but then they allow maybe certain number of people in at the same time, not as it used to be horrendously crowded inside. So people line up, very civilized here. When they line up, they're about 2 meters away from each other. So it's a short lineup, but they observe that. So far, so good. Um, but so we don't go where we don't have to go. And people started stocking up about a few months ago. And I used to feel, oh, that's not necessary. But about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago maybe, I decided I should have some food in the fridge and freeze, and uh, enough water to last for a while. So I will go when I need something, not necessarily all the time. So Jen says, thank you. But did you see I wrote, I'm afraid I won't get turned on by him? Did you say that? How could you say that? You know, it's like saying, I'm afraid I won't be turned on by a woman who is less than 5 feet tall or 5.5 feet. It's impossible. It's her character, her beauty, and every woman is beautiful. And the way she treats her partner, the way she interacts. And of course, it's a little bit maybe different. We men are more visual. We love women regardless, I guess. If it's not the whole of the woman, maybe part of the woman we love, and we are sexually turned on without much of a focus on all angles. But what makes the difference is really the the length of the duration of the relationship, which has a lot to do with how we interact and how the woman interacts with us and treats us and so on and so forth. And that must be true in the same way for girls when they see the man that they like and they feel that they may not be turned on for certain conditioning that they have done to their own consciousness of certain aesthetics that they are interested. Well, granted, we all have that. Maybe the woman I like would be in a certain thing that I would prefer, but you can't tell who you would fall in love, even though if that woman is not exactly as I had dreamt it up in my mind, because it is a lot more to a woman than how she looks. And it is a lot more, I'm sure, in the people that you would end up liking. Just tell me, don't tell me that just because the guy comes a certain height, you're going to fall in love with the guy. And if you do, on what basis? Might as well fall in love with this statue of, I don't know, whatever you see. Might as well fall in love with the cardboard cutting of someone who, I don't know, is tall enough. What about the contents of that consciousness? What about the character? What about the things that you guys can do for each other? And that's not just physical, it's also emotional. So the package should be voted on, not just one particular, that can be important, but not necessarily complete the whole package. Like somebody says, oh, any woman who can wear nice high heels, and I fall in love with her. Well, okay, I can see where you're going with that, but woman is not about just a high heel. Yeah, it makes her legs look beautiful and more beautiful, but is that all that you can say, that I can fall in love for any woman who can wear high heels? It's like the same thing you're saying. You are attracted to anyone who's at that height. But what does it have to do with that person? That's not something that he accomplished. It's been born that way. It's in the gene. It gets taught. Oh, that woman can wear high heels. Okay, everybody can wear high heels. But what does that tell me about her? About her character, her ability to cope with life, to be there maybe when one needs to. These are all things that you might want to consider and change your expectations in a logical manner, Jen. or Jen. I don't know. How do you pronounce your name? I don't have your name either. Jen says, but you're right. Height is relative. I will ponder on your answer and perhaps give him a chance, at least meeting him after quarantine. He seems like he could be a great boyfriend, and he graduated as an engineer, a positive thing, since other guys I've dated haven't had education, and it's also an important thing for future thing, my family and myself. Otherwise, I hope me and him can be friends at least. Well, you're going about this in the wrong way. You are already saying, maybe I give him a chance. How about if he gives you a chance? How do you think that you're the one who chooses here? Maybe he actually sees you and he feels that your expectations are not about the relationship, is about some kind of an image that you're hungry for, and that is not what the foundation that he would think it's important to build something on it, or it's necessary to build something on it. So the idea that the thing you will give him a chance is as if you're doing him a favor. Look, every guy might be tickled pink to go out with you based on that the guys just love women and want to go out with them. But that's how we are wired for procreation. But that doesn't mean that the woman is actually suitable as a match to be a girlfriend material or wife material. It's just that we are programmed to pay attention to that intimacy and sexuality of woman, because just that's how we are put together. But that shouldn't be enough for you that if the guy is interested in you sexually, then he's qualified to be your boyfriend or your husband. Is it? No, it's not, because he's made that way to be interested in a woman. And his interest about you is not because something you did or something he is that you guys are compatible. It's something that is programmed. So how could that be a qualification? You got to go beyond that. The same thing here. If the guy is tall, or you like short guys or tall guys or whatever you call short or tall, that's not his accomplishment. He was born that way. Now see what he has made out of himself after birth. Is he qualified? Is he compatible? Can he be there? Can you rely on him? Can he rely on you? Can you guys support each other mentally? Physically, come on now. When you both lie down in bed, doesn't matter who's longer, who's taller, who's shorter. You guys will have a good time, perhaps. Because when you're in bed, there's no height difference anyhow. Isn't that true? Don't bring me back to my school time, having these kind of chats, funny chats. But it's true. So you might as well, give it a rest. Guys, take a short break of 1 minute. I'll warm up my tea, and then perhaps we can talk about the coronavirus defense line that we have, and we'll see how that goes. All right. We've got 16 of us here, and I've just boiling some water, and until then we can perhaps see what else we have here. Emmanuel says one of two. Okay, we've got a book coming. Emmanuel says, when my ex left and decided to marry a practically unknown guy chosen by her uncle, She told me that even though this guy could be a bad person, she would still tolerate him just because she would be complying with the Hindu tradition and expectations. Yeah, I've heard that. Isn't that a nonsense? I mean, I'm not saying Hindu tradition is nonsense. By all means, no, not at all. I mean, complying with that idea that just got to comply for the sake of compliance. It's someone's life that they're going to spend together. So how could I don't know. I have nothing to say about it. I just disagree with that. That's what I'm trying to say. Emmanuel says, in other words, following her culture was more important than following her heart. I'll die and still won't be able to understand that. Yeah, I know. And you're not alone. All right. We have Jen. Oh, talking to Roller Girl. All right. Rudy says, hi, I'm Rudy from Texas, 34. Thank you for that, Rudy. It says, I know you get asked this all the time, but I need to know how to get my ex out of my head. The ex is not in your head. The memory of ex is accessible, but you got to realize that that memory is good for nothing, because you cannot build anything on memory that is not continuing. And you got to focus on the actuality of her. And when you focus on the actuality of her, who she is right now, not who she was at the beginning of you guys meeting each other, which everything was lovey-dovey, but seeing her as she is now. In other words, don't perceive her by looking at her, but remembering who she used to be and the memory you have of her when the lovey-dovey time was, and thinking that she today is that she was yesterday in the memory. No longer. That memory is that doesn't exist. It's there for your enjoyment whenever you want to think about something that you want to, I don't know, reminisce or relax with, fine. But when you go in the memory, quickly, when you're being overwhelmed by, oh, I miss her, she was so nice, and then why did they break up? Then quickly bring out the eventuality of her, the actuality of her today. And do not think that what you think of her in your memory is actually who she is today. It's two different things. Who she is today, what is something that you should focus on, and you will see the problems that you guys had, the things that were not compatible, the way she behaved with you and you guys, and what caused it eventually to break down. That's who she is. But you don't want to consider all the changes she has gone through, and you want to consider her because she still looks the same, as if she has the same consciousness in her brain at the moment as she did when you guys were together lovey-dovey. When you focus on who she is today and not who she used to be, then you will say, no, that kind of a person I don't want to be with. But the reason you can't get her out of your head is because you don't focus on who she is today, what she has become. You look at her and you remember how she used to be, and you think she's still capable of being that person. She's not. She's moved on. She's not the same person, doesn't behave the same, doesn't treat you the same, and she doesn't deserve your attention. Simple. And of course, I've got over 1,600 videos on this channel, guys, which over 1,000 videos are about these sort of things that you just asked. Why you miss your girlfriend, why you're so devastated, how to move on, all these feelings that you have, everything under the sun after your breakup you can think of, we probably have a video on it. Just go on the search engine of my channel, type in what your feeling is, one word, regret, breakup, how to move on, missing her, missing ex. All these will give you a bunch of videos you will choose from. Plus, we have all these live talks, which are about 456 and more, and counting live talks, which we've talked about 20 or 30 questions in each one of them. So we have about 12,000 separate videos or separate topics of questions and answers that we've discussed on this channel. They're all free for you. If you want more, then you can go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com, and then click on Talk to Mehran via Skype. Make an appointment for an hour, and I'll throw in another hour on me. We'll have 2 hours to discuss. It's very economical for you, I believe, from anywhere in the world. And then we'll discuss what's concerning you together. We'll explore it. And that's what I do for anybody who needs it all around the world. And of course, you have other support systems. You can take a look at my books, read the table of contents and see if it grabs your interest, and read a sample chapter, and then acquire it either in print, which is heavy and expensive, but shipping is included, and I'll sign it and send it for you if you request for that. Or you can get the ebook version, which is 1/10 of the price, and it comes to you right away. And if you had any problem with the links to download, just send me an email, because sometimes you might have a glitch on the system, and I'll send you the ebooks by email. And my brilliant programmer is creating new bells and whistles on the site, and if there's any glitches, then we'll fix it. And of course, there is an email service as well that you pay a nominal fee and put your question in there, and I will record a 4 to 8 minutes recording and email you back the recording answer. So, having said all that, plugged the channel a little bit, and let's go on and see what we have here. And it says, I know you've asked this all the time, but I need her to get my ex out of my head. We've been broken up for a year. I have this compulsion, keep checking on her. Yeah, you got to break that compulsion, because you haven't missed anything. The girl that you think you've missed, you didn't, because as long as she was the same girl when you guys were good together, she was with you. So the one that you're not with right now is not the same girl that you guys were together, that you guys were good together. The one that you're actually not with and you think you're missing, that's not the one you're missing. You're missing the one that you were good together, which was the beginning. But the one that you're missing right now is changed. It's not the same girl. So you have no reason to miss her, to stalk her, to want to see what she does, what not. You have no reason to stalk anybody at any time. But in this case, even more. There's no reason. Why? Because you should focus on who she has become. And who you are missing is not who she used to be. You're missing somebody who actually you don't want to be with. Why? Because she doesn't want to be with you, right? And the first criteria for wanting to be in a relationship with someone is that she also wants to be with you. If she doesn't, why should you? Simple as that. But if you go on and say, just put in the word X, EX, or missing X, you will have a bunch of videos. Or how to move on, how to forget someone, you know? You can write in how to forget the ex, or how to forget someone. Again, you'll have a bunch of videos on it. Ben, you're here again, and you're not stopping this nonsense. I asked you before, if you don't have anything to do, well, I don't know, go walk in the street if you like. Find something to do. Play basketball. But don't come in here and try to say nonsense, all right? It's not appreciated. So will you kindly, please, if you don't behave while you're here, while we try to be friendly with everybody, but when you have malice in mind and you're being negative or being funny, I will simply ask you to leave. If you don't, I'll put you on report, and at the same time, I give you a timeout and kick you out. Could you please respect us here? I don't know how old you are. Obviously, you have no manners or morals or understanding of people's interest and respect for other people. So might as well I give you the timeout right now. I don't have time for that. All right. Yuri Eros says, what's going on here tonight? Corona? We could be talking about corona in a way, but not it's the virus itself, but our defense system against viruses and illnesses. But we haven't yet. We're basically talking about things to do with our psyche. And Roller says, and by the way, Yuri, if you don't mind, please give us the protocol, gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. I appreciate it. And TD says, hi, I'm from Assam, India. Oh my goodness, place with the best tea, one of the best tea in the world. Assam used to be my favorite. Beautiful tea. Age 19, male, and he says, so I'm having a hard time moving on from my last relationship. She was manipulative and the relationship was toxic. I'm afraid I won't find another deep connection. Well, how could you call this deep connection when you say it was toxic and manipulative? What kind of depth is that you're looking for? You want to drown or you want to swim? If you want to swim, you need calm waters and skillful swimming training, and then a cooperating atmosphere, and then enjoy the day. But if you want to call a manipulative, a toxic relationship as a deep connection, well, you're going to find the same thing again that you're looking for. At least learn something from that nonsense and have certain kind of respect for yourself and expect a lot more from a woman than just them being a woman. Because being a woman is not something that they accomplished. It's something they've been born with. That's their gender. And you being a heterosexual male, you love women. So that's not something that she has accomplished. That's something that you guys are programmed to be interested in. So now go further. Give more respect to woman and see what she's got to offer and how much wisdom is there and compatibility between the two consciousnesses are. You're 19 years old now. You're not a kid anymore. You're beginning your teenage life is almost over. So see what you can offer to a woman by your wisdom, by your education, by your ability to provide, by the job and plans that you will have for the future. And also, do not judge a woman by the way she just looks, or because she's a woman, she looks beautiful, feminine, that's all you expect from her. No, have more respect for her. The women today are far beyond what they were 200 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or 100 years ago. They are full of wisdom, education, capability, everything else that they can accomplish, that anybody else can accomplish. So therefore, because the environment allows such a development and such flourishing characteristics of everybody, including anyone who didn't have this opportunity 200 years ago, then you got to expect a lot more from them and offer a lot more from yourself. Make the best version of yourself. Focus on building yourself in a level that would expect a higher quality woman than just being a female. And then look and appreciate and express your respect to women by expecting more from them. Not that, oh, they're female, so okay, they're a good match. No, they're not. What's in that beautiful look? What's in their head? How are they going to treat themselves, their lifestyle, your treating you, and how you're going to treat them? This is what you should be focusing on, if it's compatible or not. Otherwise, especially in that neck of the wood, women are really sought after. And instead of being looked upon as a respectful human being, they're looked upon as a commodity. So therefore, you're going to put up with everything they want to do, because it's like they expect you to pay for it, and you expect as if you're dealing with a commodity. So anything she wants, you do. She wants you to flip over, you flip over. But why? All because of the fact that intimacy and finding a girlfriend is supposed to be not so easily tolerated outside of marriage, and therefore you put up with the idea because there's so many callers for her, because everybody's looking at, oh, a woman. Yeah, okay, great. But what about the characteristics? How are you going to build? You can't build a relationship or build a life on pretty. You got to build a relationship on a solid ground, on a foundation. That foundation is conditioning consciousness, education, wisdom, tolerance, unselfishness, cooperation, helping each other, giving priority to each other, caring about each other, compassionate, all that. So it's time for you to focus on the quality, not necessarily just the fact that, oh, it turns me on, so it's a right match. No. Almost as, anything, even this shiny statue is going to turn you on. That's not a criteria you should stick on. All right. Yuri Eras will say, the hospital would tell you. Hospital? Hospital? I don't understand. Okay. Yuri says subbed. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. TD says, she accused me of cheating when I didn't. Even with evidence, she won't believe it. She says she loves me a lot, but she can't be with me because I cheated. No, that's nonsense. She probably has other ideas, and she's using that in order to not feel guilty and have a good supposedly outlook or image in other people's mind why she broke up with you. I'm not sure about that, but because I don't know anything about you or her. But it seems like if you haven't really any provided evidence, she still doesn't want to believe you, and that means she's got other plans. And you said that TD says also she blackmailed me, saying she will cut herself to death if I don't give her screenshots of my chat with my female friends. What? She says, just tell her, how can I have a screenshot now that there's no chat? Tell her, listen, you have a choice. You can believe me or you don't believe me, but please do not hurt yourself, because I love you too much. You got to say that to her. And Roller Girl says, Jen, okay, you're talking to Jen. Emmanuel Press says, I've fallen in love with your story about you and your family going to the Caspian Sea when you were a child. You said that you loved that water from the Caspian Sea even though it was very cold. Did I? I don't remember that story. Has it been many years since I told that story? Have I gone so old? Or is something missing here? It says, do you still love Caspian Sea that much? Well, I'm sorry to hear that the present government gave up most of the right to that amazing place. And it's not as clean as before, as I hear. I mean, I remember I was as a kid, when we would go, in summertime, would go to one of these resorts, the ships of the government's fishing for sturgeon fish to uh, process caviar right on the spot. I could go on the ocean, see the ships coming, the little boats coming, and the sturgeon would be brought in, and I could see actually how they package it right there at the site and put the salt and all that on it and package it properly, and it would be shipped all around the world, and it was like as expensive as gold. And I don't think that's the same again. And Caspian Sea is now knocked off to the Russians. I don't know, more than so many huge chunks of it is gone because they found oil in it, and all those countries that separated from Russia, they each got a piece now, instead of before it was like, I guess 50 belonged to Iran and 50 belonged to, I don't know, Baku or Russians at the time. But now it's all like, I guess we got what, 11% or 8% of it left for us. So I feel very sorry for the national treasure that has happened the way it has happened. It's been just given away for God knows what. All right. Let's see. Roller says woman almost 55 Vegas. Well, thanks for fixing that, because last time you said almost 55 Vegas, but you didn't say woman. And this is deep toxic relationship, more like shallow. Okay, I don't know that is about what. All right, what we have here. Alan Nahulewa says, well said. I don't know to what that comment is for. And says, yes, women are not old-fashioned like before. Okay, yeah. Remember the protocol, guys. If you guys are just joining us, welcome. But at the same time, I need to know gender, age, and where you're tuning in from, because it would give me a little bit of background, cultural background, age background, and I also want to know if you guys are over 18 or at least know who I'm talking to, and that is important. TD says, thank you, Mehran. You're quite welcome. Mr. Beanie says, hi, my name is Nick Gert. I'm 23. I was wondering what your views on homosexuals in the Muslim community. It's not about the Muslim community. There is no view. Homosexuality is a fact. So it's been around forever. Then you can't deny it. Some people are gay, some people are not. There's nothing else to say about it. And I believe that people are supposed to be evaluated and judged based on their contribution to the society, their effect they have on the people around them and the community and society they live in, their positive effect on the world as a whole in general, and how they educate themselves, what effect they have on children, the effect they have on other people. Just like anybody else, we are all going to be judged on the same measuring system. So whether you're homosexual or you're heterosexual, whatever gender you have, the human being has certain duties and responsibilities. We all should adhere to that and set a good example and be a good role model. That's how we're judged. The rest of it, well, it's... And TD says, Juanpa says, Pura vida, pura vida, Juanpa. Male 24, Costa Rica. Matthew Wood says, I stink. All right, Matthew, if you stink, you can go take a shower. Perhaps that will help out. Would you like a timeout for that, Matthew? And Ben is back. Ben, you're back here again, aren't you? All right. We'll let you stay and we'll see how you behave. And Matthew looks like you two know each other. So we'll be on the lookout. Lazy Kid says, "Hi, sir. My grandma's age is 57. She's becoming very aggressive nowadays." Ooh, okay, aggressive in what way? Beat the crap out of you every day because you didn't say hello? "I want to help her, but she gets angry on every small thing. Last time she had a fight with neighbors just because their TV sound." Well, there could be lots of other underlying reasons for that. I don't know what kind of life she's had. I don't know what kind of other pressures or reasonings is actually making her be so sensitive on the neighbor's infringement on her privacy, on her, tranquility. But it is possible that she's going through menopause if she hasn't already. At age 57, maybe she feels like, I don't have any more new projects going. My kids are grown up, and I feel maybe old because I don't have new projects or new hobbies, no interests, or maybe my time doesn't allow me to have those things. And of course, the hormonal changes in her, age could have something to do with why she's so sensitive, possibly. So you might be tolerant of that. And just don't try to help if she's not asking for it, because she doesn't want, while she's upset, she doesn't want to be noticed as she's angry. When you're with her, don't try to solve her problems. Just be there. I don't know, talk with her, whatever she likes to talk about, and be overly nice to her. Be there if she needs you. And I don't know how old you are, lazy kid. So obviously, if she's 57, she might not want to hear from a very young person about this particular challenge at this age, which I'm not sure if that's correct or not. And lazy kid says, "Was loud. She don't even come to hospital. I hope you have an answer." Well, why does she have to go to hospital? You can't diagnose her like that. Just let her figure it out. She's not bothering anyone. If the TV is loud, maybe she had a bad day. Maybe she's going through menopause. Maybe she's thinking her life is not as when she was younger. Maybe she's tired of all the challenges of life and she wants to have a little bit better lifestyle. Well, just be there for her. Don't try to diagnose her. Just see what she wants to do. And maybe at some later point, maybe through your mom or through your other family members, you can discuss it with them and let them handle it if you're too young for her to kind of pay attention to your points at the time. Fred Flintstone says, "How's everyone holding up tonight?" Fred Flintstone, don't forget about the protocol. I need the protocol. Anybody who's been here or not, new or old, please do not forget the protocol. Gender, age, and where you're tuning from. M23 Bangladesh, or F55 France, or whatever. So at least I have an idea what you are, where you are, how old you are, and so on. And Linda says, "Hey Mehran, how are you holding up? Good to see. I caught you live." Yes, I usually catch myself live because if I'm dead, I can't catch myself. So in other words, welcome. Glad that you're here as well. Hope you're good and taking good care of yourself. And hopefully you're not working and staying home and protecting yourself. Roller says, girl. Yeah, okay, good. All right. Alan Nahuela says, "I love your videos. It makes move forward. It helps me move forward. I'm just making up this, fixing sentences here. After my divorce, 42 male, Guam. Oh, you're from Guam, Alan. Ah, such an amazing place. Always when I was a kid, I always thought I want to see Guam. I know why, because at the time I thought, oh, there's so many pretty girls are in Guam Island, Hawaii, Guam, close by. I haven't seen Guam. I hope you guys are all well there and taking care of yourselves. And so we are now about 17. We go fluctuate from 19, and so we haven't hit 20 to start our discussion about immune system for corona. But we will, I guess, eventually. And Matthew and Ben are having a exchange between the two, and so we leave it at that. All right. Mr. Beanie says nothing. Jen says, Mehran, by the way, I had a ONS with it. ONS. What is an ONS? With a tall, handsome guy, February 2020. Oh, one night stand. Oh, I see ONS, one night stand. We had a great day, and he drove me home. Next day, I tried to stay in contact, get to know him, but he said he will study in Austria 1 year soon. Okay. And therefore, despite he think I'm cute, nice and all, he didn't want to start something. I felt very sad, asked if I can visit him. He said yes, so I asked if we can take coffee before he leaves. Last text. He wrote, he said, I have prepared everything and leave in a few days. Will tell you if I can find time for coffee. I later asked how is it going, but he didn't respond anymore. It really hurts. Yeah, because you simply are so infatuated with the height of a guy that you didn't focus on who the guy is, and you gave all those imageries that you want your guy to have to this guy because he met one of your criteria, which is the height. So you just created the empty shell and then fell in love with it, or rather, because it was all you rather than letting him to impress you. You were being impressed by yourself with the image you had made of him in your mind. That's why it doesn't work. You're not focusing on who they are. You're going after some bullshit that you have created that is important, and then you miss the whole boat. And the guy turns out to be a guy who just, has a one-night stand and leaves you because you never really focused on who is it that you're having one-night stand with. You were so infatuated, oh, he's tall, let me get him. So you did whatever it is that you thought is your way to bring his attention, or, I don't know, have a good time yourself or please yourself, and then you expect them to reciprocate to this kind of a welcoming or this kind of attention that you give them. They won't, because they know you didn't even care to get to know them. You're just there to, that's how they would look at it. And how would you look at it? If a guy comes on, fully excited, interested, and whatever you want, he says okay, and is willing to be with you if you want, you kind of start thinking, oh, maybe that's how you came across. And obviously you only thought the only qualification that matters is the height. And since that's what you did, and the guy was tall, and then didn't pay attention to your further interest in the relationship, now you feel like it's important to get another tall guy in order to say, I can get a tall guy. Well, It's nonsense. You're putting yourself in a place which is not your place. You're supposed to be higher than that. You're supposed to have respect for yourself. Not go for the aesthetics. How many guys have gone for the beautiful aesthetics of a woman and it never worked? Because they never paid attention to anything else that she was all about. It was all about what they thought a pretty girl would be. But that's our fault that we don't go step forward, deeper, to understand the person, to understand that this woman that looks pretty but may not have anything, but we create that image for her, then we fall in love with the one that is really not qualified. And when she feels that we're just there for her regardless, then she loses interest, because why do they want me so much when I don't think I'm that much myself? That means then they're not much. So she walks away. And you're doing the same thing. You have respect for yourself and then focus on the quality of the person and then see if they, they measure up or not. She says, because I thought he liked me too and we could just get... Guys always look like they like you. If you're cute and they are, guys, get turned on with a girl, they always, at the beginning, do whatever they can to look like that they're interested. They may genuinely be, but they also may not. But because there is an ulterior motive there, intimacy, so they will, flip over for you. And you think, oh, that means they're really into me as much as you are into them. No, not necessarily. Have respect for yourself. Check things out. Aesthetics are important for anybody, but there got to be a lot more to it. Because I thought, she said, like, and just get to know each other more than just sex. I kind of felt I haven't fully healed from this, so that's the reason to unsure about the short new guy. You keep saying short new guy. Just say new guy. That word doesn't make any sense. You're trying to portray men. That means you don't have respect for men. As long as you don't have respect for the man that you're meeting and you only have for the height that you're meeting, then you can't get a good man, because you can't even judge properly. So stop this business of short or long. Focus on the person, the persona, and you'll be fine, because, I'll make the difference. Matthew says, F35, 230 pounds, stinky. Okay, it's time for you to go and take a bath then if you're stinky. Bye-bye. And Linda says, female, 59, Ontario. Thank you for that, Linda, dear. Fred Flintstone says, male, 40, USA. Thank you very much, Fred. USA is a big place, by the way. Which part? Linda says, oh no, I have to work in healthcare. You're supposed to be, at least take precautions, dear. I'm sure you do. Fred Flintstone says, Guam is beautiful and traditional. Yes. All right. Ben says, Guam is stinky. That means it's time for you to also go and do whatever it is that you prefer to do, because you're obviously not a positive energy here, and we don't need that. Robert, a roller girl, says, Jen, ghosting does... Okay, they're talking to each other. Alan says, Guam is hot and humid. You just have to shower every day. Okay. And the roller girl says, ghost you once. You can ghost, they can ghost you again. I see. If you let them. Okay. Dunder Muffin, that must be Sophie, yeah? Hi, Mehran, long time no see. Yes, I know. Where have you been, Sophie? Am I right? That's Sophie. And Jen says, Mehran, I really tried to get to know him afterwards. I asked and wrote a lot of things and deep questions, text but he barely, because you tried to impress him with all kinds of unnecessary questions at the time. You should have been done before you had sex. You know, it depends on the guy. If the guy doesn't have the capacity to appreciate the favor or the wonder that he's receiving from a woman that he just met, and you're both healthy and responsible, and offering him sex, and yet it treats you like that, that means you read it wrong. And why? Because you had the blinders on and you were only focusing on how tall the guy was. That's not what makes a human being. It's no different than having a set value system of all the white guys are good, or all the brown guys are good, or all the black guys are good, or all this nationality is good, or all that nationality is good. How, on what basis? Individuals are different. So you can't say, oh, tall guys, what? Tall guy could be an asshole. A short guy could be an asshole. Or short guy could be an amazing guy. Or tall guy. You just got to get that cleared out in your head. Jen. Peggy says, good morning. Good morning, Peggy. That's 30, female, New York. Welcome, Peggy. Sophie says, I hope you're doing well in this pandemic chaos. Stay safe. Glad to see you again. Delighted that you're here, dear, as well. Luis Felipe says, hi, hello, Luis. Remember the protocol, guys. Oh, come on, Jen. You have such a low expectations of people. You have put the bar so low. You say, I thought he liked me because after we had sex, the next day he drove me home 1 hour in his car, so I thought he was sweet and cared. That's his bloody duty. It's the least gentleman, was one of the regular gentleman thing that he could have done. If he didn't, it was a pig. Why do you think that means what? That means just doing the right thing. Doing the right thing doesn't always mean that the person is the right guy, right person. So what? Did you expect him to say, no, get a cab or get a bus? That would be total disrespect, wouldn't it? So that is no indication that he liked you or not. It was being nice and gentleman, at least. But you just were trying to make something out of it when you should have known that, look, when you just meet a guy and go to bed, well, that's how he's going to look at you too. That was just sex, nothing more. Listen, how do you feel if you just meet the guy and the guy says, hang on a second, and goes to the store and buys you a watch of, I don't know, amazing, like $10,000 watch? Huh? What are you going to think? This guy is desperate, or is an idiot, or he hasn't seen much, he hasn't been with women enough? You kind of, you may like the gift for a while, but then you kind of start thinking, I don't think I want this guy because he really wants me so much. Then you're going to start thinking, oh, I don't want to belong to a club that takes me as a member. That's famous saying. And you start doubting if the guy is a good person. Why? Because he paid so much attention to yourself, but yet you don't think you're that hot. Like, you don't think you're that much valuable. And so if the guy is really paying so much attention and value to you, and you don't think you are, then that means maybe the guy is not much of a value. Then you say, I'm not interested. So that's pretty much what happened, I guess, with the favor or the gift or the interest that you showed right off the bat. And Baby Yoga said, Mail 24 Washington, greetings. Thanks for staying with us in these difficult times. My pleasure. I'm here as much as I can. And I hope that all of us will stay healthy and escape this bloody damn thing that is attacking the world. Milomiko says, I'm a guy, but I love you, sir. Okay, thank you. And it says, you helped me 5 years ago regarding my breakup with my girlfriend of 3 years. After that, I met someone and developed a relationship going strong still. We're close to 4 years now. Thank you. Also, I always listen to your videos about X is not the best thing about oranges. X is not the best thinking about orange. Oh, I see. I remember that video, I think. Well, I'm delighted that you're doing well, Milomiko. And I thank you very much for your kindness and still watching the videos. And please, anyone who enjoys the channel and the contents, as you know, we have over 1,600 videos on this channel talking about thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, and all the things that have to do with the mechanics of the psyche and how the psyche works and its components and fragments. And we use that in helping ourselves and everyone to move on from their breakup and handle their breakup and understand how they should be really looking at it rather than thinking that this is the end of the world for them, which is definitely not. This is an experience everybody goes through, and we all come out of it okay, and we become a little bit wiser and a little bit more sophisticated after each one of them, and we get to know ourselves a little bit better. And our standards will go a little bit higher. And so this is good. Breakup is not bad. Breakup is part of the journey to become a wiser and better person, a better version of ourselves. And of course, we have discussions about all kinds of things, transient thoughts, OCD thoughts, and the health of the psyche and how we can understand these things and deal with them. So please do help us to grow. Share the videos on your social media and talk about the people that you maybe know in the media. Introduce our channel and our topics to them. Maybe they want to write something about the channel, put it in their papers or radio station or newspaper, or I'm sorry, I did say the newspaper, the news television station, or some program about us, or maybe interview me and so on. That would help us and put us on the map, because we are really not visible that much on YouTube, because most people are looking for how to get the X back rather than to understand their psyche and move on with the strength in understanding how to deal with the challenges they face in their daily lives. And we have Dunder Muffin says, yes, I'm Sophie, glad you remember me. Yes, I do. And Roller Girl says, Mehran, true. And Peggy says, Mehran, I'm surprised you swear. Did I? I don't remember what I said, but it must have been the right place. I do sometimes. I'm not a monk, I'm not a saint, and I do sometimes swear, but in a proper places. I mean, proper in the sentence. And Peggy says, yes, Jen, be silent and let time pass. Time heals and shows opportunities. Okay. Diana Salas says, I was going through a breakup all last year trying to get over this man. I'm glad I found your videos. I'm better now. Delighted to hear that, Diana. Would you kindly, Diana, favor us with the protocol? Like, you know, how it is, like female, the age, and where you're tuning in from. Gender, age, where you're tuning from. That would be great. And Birdie Curry. Oh my goodness, where have you been? You've been away for a long time. Says, howdy, Mehran, from San Francisco. Oh, San Antonio, Texas. Oh, San Antonio. San Antonio. Where Bernie Sanders was counting on. It didn't come true, did it? Ah, too bad. And Milo Miko says, I used that video to sleep. Repeat if I wake up in the middle of the night. You also answered me in Facebook. Thank you for opening my eyes about believing in love again. I am very happy with my girlfriend. I'm delighted to hear that. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. Sophie says, it's very late here in Chile. I think I should get some sleep. I hope I catch your live stream again soon, Mehran. Have a lovely day. Okay, dear. Have a good sleep. And we haven't talked about the immune system yet, guys. If you guys are up to it, let me know if you want me to say something about it. And Jen says, Mehran, thank you. It's true that tall guy probably felt I gave something expensive, my body. Yes, away too fast. I'm sad that it has to be this way. Wish he'd get more interested when I talked, but no. Yeah, well, you're selling yourself short. Give it to the guy who's actually spending his time and energy, haven't even seen you in person, is trying to get to know you. And I'm not saying if he's a good person or not. I don't know. You be the judge of that. But I'm saying if someone is paying enough attention and invests enough time in you, it would be perhaps a better chance, a better candidate to get to know that person and see where that goes, rather than someone that you feel you're going to give the expensive gift right off the bat and hope that then you can, make a good impression. The impression should come based on no gift, and then gift can come later. Peggy says, good night. Good night, dear. And Roller says, we learned our value, hopefully. Nick. Nick, hang on. Nick. I'm gonna now surprise you. Let's see. First of all, kia ora, Nick. And aroha tino nui matua. And I don't know the rest. Let's see. That's I guess that's all it's appropriate right now. The rest of it's about Christmas and all that. So Nick says, Kia ora matua Mehran. Kia ora. Nick. Male 43, New Zealand. And Diana Deer says 32, female, Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you for being here, Diana. And Diana says, gracias por los videos. My pleasure. Due di hambre. I hope I said it right. And Jen says, yes, please, Mehran, talk about immune system. All right, let's see. We're only 13 people here, but I will. As soon as I finish the questions. Hello, coronavirus. Adam Washer says, it says, hello, corona survivors. Okay. Adam says, anyone else sick at home? Are you sick, Adam? And please give us the protocol as far as gender, age, and where you're tuning in from, and hope you're doing well. Adam says, should come to Florida, see all of us partying fools. Really? Are you partying? All right. Birdie Curry says, yes, tell us what you think about this virus. I'm not seeing anything that warrants a shutdown of cities. Diana Salas says, lol. Okay. Now, if you guys are interested, let me share with you some of the things that we can perhaps remind ourselves or pay attention to as far as our immune system in facing with diseases. Well, I try to make it short, as I'm not a doctor, but I have researched this from researchers and doctors who have made these presentations, and I try to do justice, at least in a short period of that. Apparently, the components of the immune system that we have, there are many, and some are the thymus, and of course, lymphatic system, and the spleen, and probiotics, and the white blood cells. And the white blood cells themselves, they're a bunch. These are all our defensive systems. When a illness or a virus hits us, these are our defensive lines, and we want to discuss that a little bit to understand how well our body is prepared to take care of it, and how we can help it to become even readier and replenish these soldiers that work for us and help us to survive. So the thymus and the lymphatic system, spleen, probiotics, and white blood cells. The white blood cells, they break down, 62% of them are in the form of neutrophils, and 30% of them are in the form of lymphocytes. We have monocytes, 5.3% of them, and then eosinophils, I think that's how it's pronounced, forgive me because I'm not a doctor, 2.3%, and the basophils are 0.3%, and the other type of white blood cells, 0.1%. Now, the importance of this is in the next part of our discussion, which is the line of defense. There are certain number of white blood cells that already, the type of monocytes that are already reside in the cell. So they are like tissue macrophagy or something like that, which these are the cells that are already in every, these are the white blood cells that are already in every cells, that they're the first line of attack. When they see something weird, an illness or virus enters our body, these are the first ones within the first few minutes that attack that foreign entity, whether it is a virus or illness of some kind. Then the second line of defense are neutrophils, that they invade that area. The neutrophils, that they were 62% of the white blood cells kind, they rush. These soldiers come and try to help the monocytes that are already at the location, and they help them out. The third line is the new additional monocytes that they come to the tissue, to the site, and they start replenishing and helping out more soldiers coming. Then, of course, the fourth line is the increased production of white blood cells by the bone marrow. So that increased number of the white blood cells could be somewhere between 20 to 50 times more than the regular amounts that is available when there is a need for them to come to help and take care of that virus or the illness. So these four lines of defense, of course, just about the white blood cells, that they help in the four different formations, and they come one after the other one. The first one, the first 2 minutes, the neutrophils invasion is about a couple of hours, and then the monocytes come in and replenish the tissues at the site, and then, of course, the bone marrow creates more white blood cells to rush these soldiers. Now, the question would be, as these soldiers help us to defend ourselves and sacrifice themselves, what can we do for these soldiers to be ready and fulfilled with the nutrients that they want. You can't send your soldiers to battle when you haven't fed them. So what is it that we have to do to make sure that they are well taken care of? Well, the macrophages, apparently, that's, forgive me for the bad pronunciation of it. As I said, I'm not a doctor, so. They are at the tissue level, and they need to, in addition to rest and drinking warm liquids, especially things like, maybe lemon slices in hot water or other warm liquids, we gotta feed these white blood cell different layers of our the invasion force against the viruses and illnesses. So we gotta feed the tissue macrophages with vitamin D and zinc. So this kind needs that vitamin D, daily dose of vitamin D and the zinc. Zinc usually somewhere between 50 to 70 or 100 microgram. Don't take these as, you got to ask your doctors for the right amount and look at the package, because again, I'm just remembering what I have, notes that I have written, and I don't want to make a mistake. So the dosage of what you take, it's based on what's on that your practitioner or your doctor recommends, or it's on the bottle, whatever it's suitable for you. You got to check that out yourself. The tissue cells that are going to be the first line of defense would need vitamin D, and you will see the dosage that you need for that, and the zinc, which is important. And the second line, the neutrophil invasion, when they attack the virus, they need vitamin C, which you can up the vitamin C. I take about 2,000 milligram of vitamin C per day now. I've increased it a little bit. It can go to 3,000 maybe. And flavonoids for the neutrophils, about 200 milligram a day. This doctor, these are all studies that Dr. Abazar Habibinia from Canada, it's an MD, and he had his presentation done, and so I'm just simply relaying what I learned from his presentation. And also, neutrophils do not like you to increase your sugar intake, because how can you expect, as he puts it, your soldiers to be going to battle drunk? They won't be able to focus. They won't be able to be doing what they need to do, and defensive systems will not work that well. So decrease the sugar level, not more than what is needed for body. So in other words, don't indulge in sugary stuff, especially when you are dealing with viruses or illnesses. So the tissue macrophagy needs vitamin D and zinc. Neutrophils need avoiding sugar and increasing vitamin C and flavonoids. And then, of course, we go to the next one, which is monocytes. Monocytes need, what do monocytes need? I actually don't see what monocytes probably need the same thing as was already included in vitamin D and zinc, the same amount. So then the production of the white blood cells in the marrow, we need vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin B6. So to make it all short, you need rest, warm liquids, vitamin D, zinc, avoiding sugar, vitamin C, flavonoids, vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin B6. And of course, the rest of the things that we have been cautioned with, washing our hands and not touching doorknobs and things without washing our hands, and touching our face and all that, and of course avoiding people and so on. So that's basically, in a nutshell, this presentation, which much longer, was maybe about 40 minutes or so. So I hope that this would be something that you guys can benefit from, which I think I have. And so, what do we have here? Adam says 18 dude Florida. Okay. All right. Okay, 18 years old dude in Florida. we have a super chat from Roller Girl. Thank you very much, Roller Girl, supporting the channel. We have $4.99 super chat. We are appreciative for that. It says, Mehran, you are a beacon of light and knowledge in this world. Thank you from Vegas, and thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate that, and thank you for being here. And definitely, we are delighted that I'm delighted that you could make it tonight. And we have Nick says, much love and respect to you as well, Matua Mehran. Nick, good to see you here. Nick says our country is on lockdown for 4 weeks as of tomorrow. Oh my goodness. What about food and things? Are you prepared? You got stuff stocked up? Alan says, chloroquine, phosphate, and hydroxychloroquine have previously been used to treat coronavirus patients. Yeah, I read that. But then there is something that apparently the Japanese have been successful in treating patients, and 91% success, which I forgot the name of it. Something peering, whatever. And so they are now expediting the testing and trying to make it more available. I guess that's what I read last. And Adam says, just took some vitamins, thanks, making some lemon honey tea. Good. Thank you for the tips. You're quite welcome. All right. Milomiko says, I take vitamin C, D, and drink Taramindu tea mixed minerals. Okay. I don't know what that is, but great. Take care of yourselves. And Birdie Curry says, great recommendations. Thank you. You're quite welcome. And a Roller Girl says, you're welcome, sir. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you. Roller says, our town is in quarantine. Las Vegas is in quarantine until at least April 5th. Oh, wow. Did you guys know that just a couple of days ago, it was the 6,000-year-old traditional Nowruz, Persian New Year, which every year in this town for the past 40 years that I have been here, living in Canada, every year, just at least not all of it, but the last at least, I guess, 20 years or so, they have been having a Nowruz celebration right here by the beach, close to where I am, in the park, and over 10,000 people would show up every year. And a week before that would be the fireworks week, which people would again gather around with music and food stands and so on in the park, and they jump over fire, a traditional 6,000 years old tradition that supposedly means all my bad things, including health problems or including thoughts and everything, to you, the fire and all your redness and vigor and energy to me while they jump over that fire. They say that. And this year, of course, they have canceled all, and properly so, all celebrations of any kind around the country. And there has been no gathering of any kind. And our town is also, is not under lockdown, but is everybody, like businesses are closed pretty much when they're not essential. And people have stocked up, and not much things are easily found. But we're still okay. I hope everyone else is okay as well. So it's good to stay away from people that you don't know of, at least, or far enough when you talk with them. And have a mask with you if you can. And you don't have to wear it while there's nobody around. But if you feel that you got to be in lineup or something, you might want to put that on just in case somebody else coughs or something, which we don't know really what we're dealing with. All right. So now we are open for questions. If you guys like a topic to talk about, otherwise, I think it would be time for me to call it a night and perhaps make some tea for myself and some lemon. Adam says, "Is coffee bad for corona? I'm sick but need caffeine." Well, or beer. Well, Adam, I think that would be something you should research it yourself. I don't know. And even if I did, I wouldn't try to pretend if I'm a doctor. So therefore, I don't want to make a comment on that. But I know warm beverages is particularly good for many reasons. Among many reasons, one reason is the idea of keeping the system warm, because apparently the nose and the eyes are the coolest part of the system, and that's where the virus likes to lodge in. And that's why they say if you are sick or feeling not so good, perhaps a warm air, breathing the warm air, not continuously, but every once in a while, in order to warm up the nostrils. And therefore, you'd be able to create an environment where the virus doesn't like it. And that's why they're looking forward for the warm weather, they say, because they figure a corona family virus can't reproduce in heat. This is why I have read here and there that having a warm air to warm up this area would be beneficial as far as not being such a good host for the virus to be attracted to. And also, I've understood that having warm beverages keeps your mouth warm and keeps your mouth wet. So if the virus happens to get into your system, if your mouth is dry, it would try to find other sources, which would be attracted to the lung and goes into your lung, which is where you don't want it to go. But if the mouth is wet, apparently it gets sucked in with the wetness of the mouth and goes into the stomach, where the acid of the stomach kills the hell out of it. And so Milimiko sends us 500 PHP, I believe is, let's see, what is PHP pronunciation properly? If I may, just one moment, please. I don't know if it's Indian rupee. All right. Oh, it's a Filipino pesos. I'm so sorry. I apologize. It was close. I couldn't figure out that. I thought I knew, but and thank you very much for that, for your generosity. I appreciate that very much. We appreciate any support for the channel, of course. And so 500 Filipino pesos is most appreciated. And he says, this is way too small for the help you gave me before, Sir Mehran. Thank you again, and take care, everyone. Well, my pleasure for helping you and many others. That is not a problem, and you didn't have to send us money at all. These are all for everyone to enjoy. But should you have felt that you want to, that's of course a welcoming thing for the channel support. And Alan says, what did Alan say? Baby Yoga says, I've never had a Corona with coffee. I don't. I see. You guys are pulling my leg, aren't you? You're talking about beer, aren't you? But didn't I say, I think that beer is by, is it not by K? Corona beer is written by K, isn't it? Mason says, oh, I fell asleep. Wow, you're still running. Nice. Well, I don't know how to take that, Mason, as a compliment that you're still here or that I put you to sleep. So either way, thank you for the comment. And Roller Girl says grocery stores, gas stations, and hospitals are open. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dog Lover says, I think coffee isn't good. I don't know. Alan says, lol, okay. Adam Washer says, okay, no beer then. Beer sucks warm. Yeah, doesn't it? Milo Miko says, first time donating online. Okay, thank you for that. We certainly appreciate it. Cindy de la Cruz says, best to stay away from alcohol. Yes, correct. It's metabolized through the lungs, keeps them clean. Keep them clean. Yes, that's true. That's very true. Mason says, wow, cool move, Milomi. Okay. And then we have Roller Girl says, nice. Jen says, thank you, Mehran, for tonight. Good answers, I think about, and great tips about vitamin and such against corona. Where do you live, by the way? Take care. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, dear. That is Sweden. You're in Sweden, right? Mason says compliment. Okay. Lazy Kid says, male 23, Mumbai, India. Sir, you are doing a very good job. I really appreciate your effort. Thank you for being there for those who need help. Well, I can't. I'm not doing much. I'm just trying to just be there with you guys as much as we possibly can. Adam says, Cindy, are you sure about the lungs alcohol? Stop drinking until I'm better anyways. Okay, good. All right, guys. Looks like we answered all the questions. We don't have any more answers here. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes and 50 seconds. And I think it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here and allowing me to share a thing or two with you. Please take good care of yourself. Again, be vigilant and don't go out if you don't have to. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. And I look forward to talk to you again, hopefully tomorrow. In the meantime, be good to yourself, to the others, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.